Have you ever wondered what makes millions of people all over the world just sit and stare at water for hours on end, just waiting for a tug on a line? It's one of our oldest hobbies, for sure, and today we're going to look right past that quiet surface and dive into the powerful and pretty unexpected psychology of why we fish.
Yeah, when you picture fishing, this is probably what comes to mind, right? It looks so serene, so peaceful, just one person, out in nature. It's the classic image of an escape. And, for a long time, that's what we all thought it was.
But come on, is simple relaxation really enough to explain why this is one of the most popular hobbies on the entire planet? The truth is that peaceful image is hiding something. There's a much more powerful, almost addictive psychological force at play here. Now, to be clear, that sense of peace, it's not just a feeling. It's a real, measurable thing happening in your body. So let's start with the most obvious reason fishing feels so good. Something called the relaxation response and what it's doing to our nervous system.
So the first level answer is exactly what you'd think it is. As researchers at Harvard have pointed out, fishing gets us outside, away from all our daily stress. It's like a forced mental reset that helps us, and I love this quote, break the train of everyday thinking.
So think of your body as having two basic modes. Most of our modern life keeps us stuck in the first one, fight or flight. It's our internal alarm system, just pumping out stress hormones like cortisol. But fishing, it flips a switch and activates the opposite, the relaxation response. And this is a state of deep physiological rest that literally works against stress, slowing down your heart rate, your blood pressure, and your breathing. You know, that simple, rhythmic action of casting, reeling in, casting again, it becomes this physical trigger for a mental reset. It's almost like a form of active meditation that just quiets all the noise. But as powerful as relaxation is, that's only where our story begins.
Because while relaxation might get you out the door and to the water, it's not what keeps you there for hours, even when you're not catching anything. For that, we have to look at a psychological mechanism that is way more powerful and, frankly, far more addictive.
Yep, feeling relaxed is a huge perk, but it is not the engine. The true hook, the thing that makes fishing so compelling it can feel like an obsession for some, is a principle that comes straight from behavioral psychology. And the core idea here is called intermittent reinforcement. It sounds a little academic, but the idea is super simple. It's a reward system where you don't win every time. Instead, the prize shows up randomly, unpredictably. If you've ever found yourself just mindlessly checking your phone for a notification that might not even be there, you've felt its power. That very inconsistency makes a behavior way stronger and much harder to stop. And this is where it gets really interesting. Think about a slot machine. You pull the lever, right? Most of the time, you get nothing. But sometimes, you win. And it's that unpredictable sometimes that keeps people pulling that lever. Well, fishing operates on the exact same psychological principle. This whole process creates this powerful psychological cycle we can call the hook loop. It starts with the cast, that's the anticipation. Then comes the unpredictable outcome. Will you get a bite or nothing? Then finally, you feel that tug. Your brain gets a nice hit of dopamine, that feel-good chemical. And that reward reinforces the behavior, which makes you want to do one thing, cast again, and the loop starts all over.
Okay, so this all sounds like a pretty compelling theory, right? But it's not just a theory. The combination of relaxation and this intermittent reward has some profound, measurable effects on our well-being, and we actually have the data to prove it.
So get this. A major study that came out in 2023 looked at over 1,700 male anglers in the UK, and what they found provides some really powerful evidence for the mental health benefits of this hobby. First off, they found that men who fished on a regular basis had significantly lower odds of being diagnosed with depression. Now, you see that little number on the screen? That p-value? That's the statistical way of saying, hey, this is legit. It means the chances of this being some random coincidence are incredibly small. It's a real strong link. And the findings get even more serious. The study also found that same highly significant connection for reduced odds of suicidal thoughts among regular anglers. I mean, that's huge. It suggests fishing can provide a really powerful protective effect. And the list just keeps going. The researchers found links to reduced odds of several other serious conditions, on top of just higher overall levels of mental well-being and fewer symptoms of general anxiety. The benefits were just across the board. So the takeaway here is really clear. That psychological loop, the hunt for that unpredictable catch mixed with the chill environment, it doesn't just feel good. It has real, measurable, positive, and tangible effects on our mental health. Now, this psychology doesn't just affect us as individuals. It also has massive implications for how we, as a society, manage our natural resources. And that brings us to our final section. Because anglers are driven by this really powerful psychological hook, they don't always behave like the rational actors that old-school economic models assume we are. And that makes managing fish populations incredibly complicated. And this slide really nails the difference. Traditional economics thinks of an angler as the simple, rational person just doing a cost-benefit analysis. But behavioral economics, the newer, more realistic model, knows we're human. We're driven by that thrill, by our beliefs, by what our friends might think, not just by a spreadsheet.
And here's the problem. If you design regulations for that simple, rational person who doesn't really exist, your rules might not work. A rule that makes perfect sense on paper can totally fail in the real world if it doesn't account for what's actually motivating people.
This is where a really smart new approach called nudging comes in. Instead of heavy-handed rules or big fines, a nudge is a subtle change that uses what we know about psychology to steer people toward better choices, without taking away their freedom to choose. So the key is this. By understanding what's going on in the angler's brain, that potent mix of relaxation and random reward, policymakers can design much smarter conservation rules. For example, instead of just a fine, a nudge might be to create a catch-of-the-month leaderboard for sustainable fish. You're using that reward-seeking drive for conservation. It's about creating systems that work with our psychology, not against it. So, at the end of the day, we see that fishing is so much more than a quiet hobby. It's a perfect storm of relaxation and powerful psychological reinforcement. And that same unpredictable hook that keeps an angler casting for hours is at play in so many other parts of our lives, from our social media habits to our biggest goals. So the question to leave you with is, where else in your life does that hook drive you?